Baby, baby mama, baby daddies out there. Oh, my baby mamas and my baby daddies out here. It's day 77. How you feeling? How you feeling? You feeling godly yet? You feeling magical and mystical? Or has that heartburn just gone down? Has the inflammation gone down? Have you seen some things in the bathroom that you can't readily explain? Talk to me. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Has your vision started being affected? Are you seeing paranormal activity you can't readily explain? Are you getting opportunities out of nowhere? Are you being forced to face your demons? Are you being forced to face all the things you've been running from all these years? Are they getting put right in your face? Just right in your face? Good. This is good. This is good. I thought it was so nice, actually recording a video earlier in the day that I decided, you know what, let's take a break and do it again before we hop to our next shift. And actually, not have this be the last thing I do in my day, but while I'm still like cognitively efficient, let's do it. Not saying I'm not at night, but God really has to flow through me at night, but I'm feeling good. Um, it's day 77. I'm still taking my parasite cleanse, which is up here. I take it every morning. So I started doing that last week and in hopes to really get to the root effect of what's happening and what's going on. To really clear out the entities, like we're really doing a baptism. We're really doing an exorcism. Okay? Not all your thoughts are yours, dear. We're cleaning out everything because for this next chapter, 2026, baby, you gotta be mentally samurai sharp, baby. Your mind and your body, you need to know. You need to pick up on your intuition, your instincts, your visions, your messaging. Just by any means, your goal should be clarity. By any means. You may get there another way. Maybe fasting is not your way, but that happens to be my way because I am a recovering food addict. I am a recovering junk food junkie. I am a recovering binge eater. That is how I have been able to suppress every experience instance where I feel I was not justified, where I feel I was betrayed, where I feel I still hold resentment, where I feel I should be petty, where I feel my favorite tool to use? I'm putting it all out here. And I felt justified using this tool. I'm a recovering avoidant attachment. And I mean, actually, like a disassociative, I'm actually kind of a hybrid of both, but I just have learned to detach very well. That does help when you are trying to cut an addiction, but the bounce back is always it's a little more aggressive. Like you can run, you can detach for a while. I would give something every birthday, I would give up one thing for a year. So I know I can detach that long, even if this is something that was in my everyday, even if this is something that I absolutely loved at one point. When I feel a compulsiveness towards something, I know, oh, I'm not acting in my right mind. And sometimes that looks like overcaring and overloving or feeling like you're showing up uh, way more than the other entity or feeling like your efforts are not being reciprocated. Mm. But every time you run from something, you are leaving a part of yourself to deal with it. You're just pushing the date to deal with these certain things. Ooh, look at that God of light. Look at that aura. Oh yeah. Got the light power in me. All right, Breezy, stop being a weirdo. Okay, we gotta get this through. Today, we're gonna face what we've been running from for all these years and decades. We are going to talk about what happens when you stop abandoning yourself. You running away is leaving that little girl, is leaving that adolescent teenager who was just confused. These are all versions when you suppress, you're silencing the most vulnerable and pure part of yourself. When you're running and not dealing with your issues, you're putting that pressure on your future self. You're putting that stress on your future self. The time hasn't even came, and you're like, "Oh, well, I'll just do it later. I'll just do it." And your future self is like, "You're supposed to be making it easier so I can create magic." But if you keep pushing this bill, if you keep pushing talking to the IRS, if you keep pushing your destiny, if you keep on pushing that relationship, if you keep on pushing that emotion that you just need to sit with and process, that's a lot of pressure to put on your future self. It's just adding up, but it feels good in the moment. Like, oh, I have time, man. You feel how fast time's going. Stop playing. Stop playing. Stop playing. Play well with others, but don't play yourself. You know. A lot of people think their problem is discipline, but it's so much deeper than that. How, for many of us, the real pattern is based in self-abandonment. Especially if you have that neglect abandonment wound. Ooh, you got a PhD on knowing how to abandon. You were taught by the best. You were taught by the best. That's very valid. I'll give you that. You didn't deserve that. You deserved more. That was unfair. How you feel is valid. Your anger, your resentment, it is valid. But after you ball your little hamster fist up and you curse the name of the people who did this to you, now what? Now what? You sent them to exile. You will never speak to me again. You will never have access to me again. You will never grace this again. Okay? And I thought that was the more positive, effective way of doing things because I'm like, at least I'm not being malicious. At least I'm not cussing you out like you deserve to be. At least I'm not calling you out your name. At least I'm not, I'll bite my lip. I'm being a lady by just removing myself. Girl, you're so good at that because you constantly practice on yourself. You know how to abandon yourself. You know how to abandon your body. You know how to abandon your intuition. You know how to abandon your long-term goals. You know how to abandon your integrity. You know how to abandon. If the situation gets too hot, you will bend to whatever gets you out alive. That's that survival instinct. You constantly feel like you are in trouble, you're under pressure, somebody's coming after you. That's when your amygdala starts going crazy. That's when your human, your primal, your instinct. We are spiritual beings in this physical form. That means there is two versions of us. There's the biological, physical, primal, anthropological history of us. And there's the God sent, supernatural, universal material created with the odds of probability of you being born being just astronomical, magic, stardust, consciousness that you are. And they're both trying to lead you. Which one have you been conditioned to listen to? Which one have you been conditioned to react to? If you have a history of binge eating or any kind of addiction, you fall more into the physical, animal, primal, human area. And that's no fault to you. No fault to you. But now that you have the awareness that you actually have a choice of how you want to show up, how you proceed is up to you. So basically, what self-abandonment is, if we can make it simple and we can make it real and relatable, it's when you ignore what you feel, what you need, or what you know is right? To stay comfortable, to stay accepted, to stay distracted, delusional, lost in fairyland, in limbo? It looks like saying yes when you mean no, numbing instead of feeling. That's with food, that's with drugs, with everything. Breaking promises to yourself. I'm gonna start that juice fast in a couple months. I'm gonna call my grandmother and just wish her happy birthday. I'm gonna apply for those jobs. I am cutting out sugar today. I am no longer putting toxic in my body. You have trouble with choosing short-term relief over long-term truth. Did you know that? Does any of those symptoms sound familiar to you? It's leaving yourself in moments when you actually need yourself the most. That's actually when you need your higher self to step in the most. When you're in a conundrum, when you want to reach for the bottle, when you want to reach for the food, this is when you have to have the audacity to call your higher self for it. She's in there. He's in there. The future use, if time really doesn't exist, you are already that person. So conduct yourself in that way. Make decisions in that regard. The problem is you haven't quite defined who your higher self is. You speak it, you write it, you create it. What is this agenda that this higher person do? What are their non-negotiables? What do they feed themselves? How often do they go to the gym? How often are they going to masterminds? What does their schedule look like? You have so much cognitive and decision bias because you haven't defined not even where you're going, where you want to be, who are you in your highest, most divine form? Who are you? What do you do every day? What do you do in the morning when you wake up? Identify with that. Repeat it. Even if you have to make a mock calendar or a mock planner, mock MOCK, whatever it takes you to embody this, your brain will follow your lead. It will follow your repetition. It will follow your guidance. It will follow your suggestion. Self sabotage is leaving yourself in moments when you actually need yourself the most. When something needs to tell you to put down that 4x4 from In and Out. Put that, put the wine down, put the vodka down, put the, put the substances down, put the distractions down, put the relations down just for a minute so you can actually paint the picture of who you are. Emotional eating, cravings, avoidance, these things are not random. They're often the result of not knowing how to stay with yourself, how to sit with yourself, how to speak to yourself, how to rely on yourself, how to care for yourself. If you don't stay with yourself, you'll have the compulsion to reach for something else. Just how you get validation from somebody else, just how you feel like you have to get love from somebody else, just how you feel you have to get attention from somebody else to just confirm and validate. Lord, Lord, you need approval constantly. You want to avoid conflict. fawning. You don't have the proper emotional support, whether that's through a therapist or you just haven't journaled or you don't have a close friend you can find in. We are essentially rewarded for ignoring ourselves. Nobody wants to hear complaining. Nobody wants to hear your sob story. Nobody wants to. Everybody's got their own problems. Everybody's so busy. At some point, abandoning yourself felt safer than being yourself. You didn't even have the capacity to express yourself because something was always going crazy in the household. That drew all the attention. That drew all the focus. Your little voice could not be heard over the chaos. So you begin to think, what's the point? Or I was shamed, or I was told that, why are you acting like that? Or I was told big girls don't act like that, or I was told, can you stop? Whatever you were told. When when you stop abandoning yourself, you can actually hear your body, your emotions, your intuition. At first it's visceral. At first it feels like little tightness or expansive in the chest. You feel the restrictions, you feel the expansion. You begin to believe yourself because you stop betraying yourself. You actually reinforce that, you know what, body, emotions, you guys are so important. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to listen to you. I'm not going to run. Not going to occupy myself. I'm not going to put a podcast on. I'm not going to order Uber Eats. I'm not going to go into the drive-through. I'm not going to go take a drink. I'm not going to just go play music and try to drown it all out. You are valid and you are important. I want to hear what you have to say. Your body knows more than your mind. Your body feels first what your mind can conceive later. You actually begin to believe yourself because you stop betraying yourself. You stop ignoring yourself. You stop saying, I shouldn't feel like that. That's silly to do that. You're starting to feel instead of escape. You stay instead of run. You make cleaner decisions. You're less impulsive. You're more aligned. You're more grounded. Your life becomes simpler when you stop negotiating against yourself, dear. Stop rationalizing why In-N-Out's the perfect dinner at 9 o'clock at night. Stop rationalizing why you need to buy that next perfume or that next. Stop rationalizing all this material shit when you need to be subtracting. The more you take away, the more space you have to actually call in the things that you want, the things that will be considered a resource for you. Instead of eating, you pause, which you're forced to do when you're fasting. Instead of avoiding, you learn to sit with it, find a little comfy bean bag or a yoga chair, or just lay down on the floor and put your legs up. Instead of saying automatically, yes, 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 I want to look dependable. I want you to count on me. Say no. You don't have the time. You don't have the energy. You don't you're in a different season right now. You can't be everything to anybody right now. Instead of distracting yourself, instead of numbing yourself, you actually allow yourself to feel the excitement, the anxiousness, the perceived fear, shame, guilt. That's all tools of the enemy. That's all tools of the lower self. That's all tools that have been imprinted on you to keep you where you're at. Because you're not a threat if you stay where you're at. If you stay in timeout, if you put yourself in timeout, you're not a threat. But I guarantee the more challenges that you have had to overcome, the more addictions, the more distractions, the more just absolute what the hell is going on? Your purpose is strong. Your gifts even stronger. Why are you perceived as such a threat? Why are things meant to shake you? Why do so many things get under your skin? Why are you so reactive? Why are you so compulsive? Those are all distractions, dear, from your vision, from imprinting on the people who are going to change your life because you decided that you would change your own life. You decided to choose differently. You decided to sit with yourself. You are the greatest intuitive that you will ever know. You are the greatest fortune teller. You are the greatest channel for God. You are the greatest thing that has ever been designed. There will only ever be one of you. Nobody can remake the conversations you had, not even AI. Nobody can remake the interactions you had. Nobody can reenact the quiet moments of solitude that you have. Nobody can reenact the betrayal, the heartbreak, the joy, the laughter, the experiences. You are one of one. Now, in a grand scale of things, people start to favor each other. People start, the societal guidelines. We understand that, but we also understand we're separate than that. It's not dramatic, it's small moments of choosing yourself. It's not, you don't need to have a holy revelation. Neural pathways are formed through repetition. We've known this already. At first, it feels uncomfortable, yes, but I'm telling you from experience and what you've seen as I'm showing up every single day, you start to lose those old coping mechanisms. You feel like a badass facing your problems and emotions directly. They were created by you. You don't have the same escapes. You don't need video games. You don't need to just go exercise. You don't need to be face down in a banana cream pie. You don't need to be having situationships. You don't need to be in a job that's sucking you dry in more ways than one. Discomfort is the price of self-trust. I'd rather have momentarily discomfort. I'd rather go through a 70, 80, 90, 100-day fast than continue to repeat the patterns that have plagued my family. When you stop abandoning yourself, you become someone you can rely on. That's sexy. That is so, you just catch yourself in the mirror like, oof, you little meek cat, you little disciplined little, oh gosh, look at you, girl. Look at your skin, girl. Look at your glow. Look at the opportunities you get. 3 job offers in under 2 weeks with no resume. These people don't have my resume. How did that happen? I've been technically job searching for 5 years. Stop abandoning yourself so you can be somebody you rely on. And in turn, that energy goes out. And now more people want to rely on you. It's not perfect. It's just discipline and it's just more consistent with yourself. And discipline sounds so rigid and rigged. And no, it's discipline is just doing what you said you was going to do day by day. You become the person you needed. You don't have to have resentment for your parents. They didn't know how to show up for you. But now that you know, you can hear your body, you can hear your intuition, you can hear those silent thoughts. Now that you know, you can decipher what's your thoughts and what's the thought, those random thoughts that you picked up in the ether. We're all connected in some way. Sometimes you picking up little Joey's thoughts from down the street, like, nah, that's not me. I don't think that was me. I don't think that was me. Instead of saying, oh my gosh, I'm picking up on somebody else's worry. Oh, I can't explain this feeling. I just got to get rid of it. I got to get rid of this feeling. I got to get rid of this feeling. Okay, what can help me get rid of this feeling? Oh, your brain's like, oh, food, 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 food. Food's always helped you. Food with heartburn for dessert. Become the person you needed. The journey hasn't just been about what I removed, especially out of my body, especially out of my colon. It's been about learning to stay with myself That throat chakra opening up. Lord, speaking too much fire. Devil is a lie. Speaking too much, I'm unlocking somebody. I'm freeing somebody. That agitation don't come unless I'm doing a testimony. If I'm hitting somebody, let me hear you. Let me hear you if I'm hitting you. If this is resonating. I know I'm just talking to my ancestors right now, maybe one other person, but this is the real deal Holyfield, sweetheart. This journey isn't about what I remove, like removing food, removing my binging through fasting. It's been about learning to stay with myself even when it's uncomfortable. When you got to make a big decision, when somebody is being an Aztec to you, when somebody is, your living situation changes and it's in your eyes unfavorable. When the finances, the bank ain't reflecting what you just know you're meant for. Can you still say with yourself and be certain that everything is coming for your good? Even when there's uncertainty, even when you don't know if you're going to be able to pay the bill, even when you don't know if you're going to be able to sustain yourself, you can sustain yourself today. Let God worry about tomorrow. If you feel like you've been abandoning yourself, or if anything I was talking about kind of relates to you, or sounds familiar to you, or at least adjacent to you, you're not alone. But the great thing is that every moment gives you a chance to return home. If you've had a longing of just wanting to be home, that's because you have a longing of wanting to go back into yourself. I've had the longest longing for going home. And I'm like, okay, I know that's not my physical home. God, do you want me to come home? Okay, not yet. Okay, I still got purpose. Okay, I still got people to touch. Okay, I still got tribes to make. Okay, I still got a once in a lifetime love to embrace and ravish. Okay, okay, yeah, okay, yeah. Just be aware. Where do you notice self-abandonment in your life? All you need is awareness. Just because you have the awareness doesn't qualify you to actually fix the problem. The awareness is the first start. And then you outsource it. I love you, sweetheart. No matter how many books you read, you are not going to be that equipped to handle what you have been going through for 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years. You need a coach. You need to invest. You need to be in rooms that have that velvet rope that you have to invest to get into to take this serious. Healing begins the moment you decide not to leave yourself. That's when I feel like it's just like a grandfather clock, just a huge, like big band clock with all the good starts just cranking again. Like it has webs and there's rust everywhere. And as soon as you say, you know what? I have such divine favor. I have such a divine purpose. I have such a love for myself. I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna hold out. I'm not gonna reach for my phone. I'm not gonna reach for food. I'm not gonna reach for connection. I just gonna sit myself and allow what is really bothering me to come up to the surface. And the nice way you can do that is just keep on asking yourself why. "Oh, I feel tight in my chest. Why? I think this is what anxiety feels like. Why are you anxious? Well, the last couple of thoughts I had, I have been thinking about money and, if I'm going to be able to pay my bills next week. Okay, why do you think you won't be able to pay your bills? Because my bank account's already low and I got things coming out. Okay. Well, um, w- w- well, has that happened before? Why? Just keep asking why? Well, it doesn't look like it's gonna match up. Why do you think it's not gonna match up? I don't know. I don't know. Well, I haven't ever been late on a payment. Okay, well, why do you think you'll be late now? Because my mind is telling me that this is not gonna be able to cover it. Why do you think it's not gonna be able to cover it? Because what's due next week is more than what's in my bank account right now. Okay, well, if it's next week, why do you need to worry about it today? Because I feel like I need to be prepared. Why do you feel like you need to be prepared? Because when I wasn't prepared, I got in trouble, or I got reprimanded, or I got looked like as a fool. Okay. Why do you think you were looked at as a fool? Well, the facial expressions that were given to me when I felt like I wasn't prepared, it just it didn't look good. It looked scary. Why do you think it was scary? Well, because when I got that look before, I usually got hit, or I usually got abandoned, or I usually got excluded. Okay. Why do you think that's going to happen again? Well, it's just happened before. Okay. Well, it happened before. Why do you think it's going to happen again? I don't know it's going to happen again. Okay. Then why did that thought cross into your mind? Maybe it was just a pattern. Okay. Well, if it's just a pattern, why do you think it will happen to you today? Well, I don't think it will happen to me today. Okay, then why is this thought crossing your mind today? Um, I guess I don't know. I guess I just needed something to be anxious about. I needed that thrill. I needed that stimulation. Why do you think you need that stimulation? Because it makes me feel like I'm part of it makes me feel like I'm doing something, even when I'm doing nothing. Worrying makes me feel like doing something, even when I'm doing nothing. Why do you feel like you always have to do something? Because I've never felt comfortable just sitting still with myself. Why have you never felt comfortable sitting still with yourself? Because the thoughts get really loud and it feels almost unbearable. And I'm actually quite afraid of myself. Why do you think you're afraid of yourself? Because I know I've repressed and suppressed a lot of things over time, and I feel like I can explode any moment. Why have you felt like you have to repress over time? Because I was never felt safe to express my emotions. So instead of feeling my emotions, I swallowed them and pretended like I was okay. Why did you have to pretend like you were okay? Because it didn't seem like nobody ever wanted to help me or listen to me. Why do you think that's still going to happen? I don't have evidence, but it happened enough earlier to make me not want to ever go down that street or ever be vulnerable enough. Why do you think it's safer? You came here to be an expression of God. Your whole life is about expression. Are you willing to look at that differently? Knowing that. Yes, I can. Good, good. Because you are worthy of that. The probability of you being here is so astronomical. And we need you to express exactly how you are. In your greatness, in your brilliance, in your way of seeing the world, in your way of thinking. You will learn refinement on the way. You will learn cadence. You will learn communication skills. You will learn how to connect, but never suppress. Never compress, never depress. You are here to express. That is your only job. Thank you. Thank you. I don't know where that came from. But you see, it's layers. What you're feeling is not always what you're feeling. What you're feeling is not always what you think you're feeling. It's so important. It's so important to go deeper, be willing to go deeper. And sometimes the trail may stop early. You may go deeper next week or next month or in the next few months. But train your consciousness and subconscious that it's safe to come up and bring things up to you. And that's all I got tonight. All right. I gotta get back working. I'm gonna do my best to get a good night's sleep tonight. I was up talking with Nia for what? Nia, we was talking to what? 10:30 my time? Oof. We're prone to do a 2-hour call like it's nothing. It's crazy, but it's wonderful. It's freaking wonderful to have that in this time and space. Somebody you can reflect to, because I just have revelation every time I talk to her. Exactly what I need to hear, exactly what I need to say. Every time you choose yourself, you rewrite the relationship you have with your life. And in turn, that's going to be reflected to you. God's going to trust you with more. Because now you're not conditionally saying yes for effect. Now you're saying yes because your heart is just expansive. Just thinking about it, it flutters. You're excited. You're a little intimidated, but that's all right. That's the cost you pay for the next level. How wonderful. What a joy, what a blessing. All right, baby. Thank you for taking that journey with me. I love you so, so, so much. Happy day 77. I'll see you tomorrow for day 78. Yeah. All right. I love you from Idaho. Okay. Good night.